Hey, welcome to the channel. Today, a little gardening tip. We're going to take the traditional drained bucket with the holes drilled in it that I've used for years. Made this out of a whole 5-gallon bucket years ago and grew plenty of peppers and tomatoes in it successfully. But last year, I made a bunch of self-wicking buckets, and I like them a lot better. My peppers and tomatoes did much better in those. They hold the moisture. You don't have to water them. They get more consistent watering that way, and all the nutrients stay in there. That doesn't drain out and lose all your nutrients with your drained water. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to line this bucket with some plastic, and that'll cover up those holes and keep the drain from working. We're going to first drill a hole into the side of the bucket, and that will be our one and only drainage hole. We will create a reservoir with just old cans that would have gone to the recycling. Now they get another life here, being used in the 5-gallon bucket as the water reservoir. And we water with PVC pipe, so it goes down in through the PVC pipe into the reservoir, and we just water until we fill up that reservoir. We know the reservoir is full when we get a little bit of drainage out of the hole. And that hole is going to be just a little bit below the length of your can. So this bucket, I probably used something about this tall in for my reservoir. And you're packing the soil down in all around that. You've got soil from there up as well. And believe me, I didn't think there was going to be enough soil to grow the plants in, but I saw it working for others, so I gave it a shot, and I got a much better, more healthy plant and a better crop of peppers and tomatoes last year. So I had one more piece of PVC pipe left over from the dozen that I made last year, and emptied this bucket out because I needed the soil that was in it for my transplants this year. So since I have an empty drained bucket and everything that I need, I'm gonna go ahead and turn this one into a self-wicking tub as well. So stick with me, hold on. I'm gonna hit pause and drill some holes. Okay, now I have drilled the hole in the side of the 5-gallon bucket, and I've lined it with 2 layers of plastic bag. Just, you can do 1 layer, but I like to do 2 layers. That way, if one of them has a little hole in or something, the other one will be a backup. And then you take I've drilled holes, about 4 holes around the bottom of each one of these cans and also on the top. And this is going to be my reservoir for the water. I only had 3 that were this size that I was wanting to use, but the other 4 that I needed to fill the bucket, I used a soup can and an old tuna can. And you have the holes drilled at the bottom and then the holes drilled at the top, and these fit together nice, and you got holes there to allow the air through to this one for these holes to actually work the way they're supposed to. And that fits together really nice. It's a nice solid fit, and it becomes 1 can basically. And it is the correct height for what I need, pretty much. Doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to put these cans into the bucket, and we are going to line the bottom of the bucket with the cans. This is our reservoir. Nice tight fit there, and we got one left for the center right there, and there we go. Okay, now the next thing we want to do is, if we have this plastic bag in here and we have this hole drilled here, we don't want the plastic bag covering up the hole, so we are going to take this bag and we're going to put it down below where the hole is, the drain hole is. So, take care of that and I'll be right back. Okay, now we got the bag pushed all down there. You can see the drain hole is clear. And then we've got our PVC pipe. One end is cut on an angle, the other end is cut straight, and you want that to be, you know, a little taller than your bucket, and you want this part to face in so that the water can come, your water and fertilizer mixture can come down in there and water really good. And we're just gonna slide that down in here next to the cans, and we want that kind of close to the drain hole. And let me get that situated and then I'll start the next step. Okay, so what I do is I take 1/3 garden soil, 1/3 home compost or black cow composted cow manure, 1/3 peat, and mix that all up together really good. And that gives me a nice nutritious mixture to go in here. You can also see that I have there it is. You can see that I have put a little cover over the drain hole. Actually, I have a little something down below there too, just to keep that all nice and covered so that it doesn't get jammed up with the soil. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the soil and we're going to start packing it in. You want to pack it all down in between the cans, and that is going to serve as your reservoir. The cans, the holes on the top let the air out, holes on the bottom let the water in. The cans hold the water. The cans, the water in the cans seeps out and wets the soil, moistens the soil. The soil wicks it up through, and the roots will only go down as far as they need to go. They will not go down there and drown themselves out, and works like a champ. So let me get this filled in a little bit and I'll show you the next step. Okay, now we've got everything all packed down in. Everything's all packed down in really good around the cans. Okay, you can kind of still see the cans here a little bit. Now we're going to add a little bit of organic garden lime. Spread some of that in here. Don't need a whole lot, it's just a 5-gallon bucket. And then some organic all-purpose. This is just a 4-4-4, just something to keep some nutrients in the soil here. this down in. And about quarter cup, half cup. Quarter cup's good, that's plenty. All right. And then we also want a little bit of Epsom salt in there. That's magnesium. And then next step is, you already saw, I probably saw, I have some eggshells in my compost. That helps with some calcium over time. It's kind of a slow release calcium, but it's there. And I also like to put a little bone down in this level too, just for extra calcium. Now, one thing, when you water throughout the season, water to what stage the plant is in. So you'll see on the back your guaranteed analysis, and it'll say nitrogen, phosphate, and potash. You want a lot of nitrogen early on. Then when that helps with your greens, your leaves, and your growth. Then when you get to the middle of the season, you want to switch over to something that's maybe more for flowers sometimes, because you want them to bloom. You want them to set a lot of flowers. So you want to increase that phosphate level. And then later in the season, you want to switch to something that has more potash, because potash helps set fruit and grow bigger fruit. So if you want the biggest, healthiest fruits, do your watering early on, with nitrogen being the most important thing to think about. In the middle of the plant's life cycle, switch over to your phosphates, phosphorus, phosphates, and then your potash after they start to form fruits, because you want them to get a bunch of blooms, and then you want those blooms to all set good, healthy, big fruit. So yeah, check out Gardening with Leon for some tips on how to kind of decipher what all the other things mean, the magnesium sulfate or Epsom salts, what they do to help things, the lime, those calcium, those are all things that add to the health of your plant and help your plant be able to take up those nutrients that they need. I'm no expert, don't claim to be, but that's what I do, and I've been fairly successful. Alright, so there you have it. I'll top this off a little bit more probably once I put the seedlings in about a month. Drain each hole, your water reservoirs down there. We covered up the drain holes on the bottom with plastic bags. We've got our watering tube here that I cut when I made the other ones, and just had left over because I didn't have another bucket then. One thing to also watch out for is if you have a handle, make sure that your handle is on the side opposite from where you put in your tube, so that you don't go to pick the bucket up and then you come up this way and you run into your watering tube. You want to leave that free so that you can actually move them around when they're empty or when the seedlings are still really small. But there you go. Just an old pickle bucket, that old 5-gallon bucket, free from the pickle place at the market. And now it's a self-watering tub, self-watering bucket after it's been used as a traditionally drained 5-gallon container for plants for many years. So there you have it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you do. Also check out Gardening with Leon. He's the one I learned this from, and Arms Family Homestead is who sent me to Gardening with Leon. So check out those two channels as well. They're great channels. Alright, take care and see you next time. Thanks for watching.